A G90 for mobile HF. What's the right way to give signal reports over the air? And we just might have a solution for those of you who can't quite tune 40 meters with your ATOS antenna, this time on Mailbag Monday. Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Thanks for tuning into Ham Radio Tube. My name is Mike, K8MRD. If you have amateur radio-related questions for me, shoot me an email. I would love to hear from you, K8MRD@iCloud.com. We've got three great things to talk about, so let's dive right in. This first one tickled me pink because of who this is from. He writes, "Hi, Mike. Had a question for you. As we all know, amateur radio isn't exactly the cheapest hobby out there. No, it is not. I'm still waiting to get my first HF rig, hoping to get the 710 AESS next month. That would be a great choice. I'm also looking for a mobile solution that is a little more friendly towards the wallet. I was curious on your thoughts for a G90 installed in a car for mobile HF operations. However, I have only seen a handful of people do this with a G90 on YouTube. With a detachable faceplate and amazing internal tuner, I'm shocked that there aren't more people trying this. What are your thoughts? Best regards in 73, Randy Hale, a.k.a. Shane's brother, W5FOM. That Shane that he is talking about is Shane from Ham Radio Clubhouse, one of my absolute favorite ham radio YouTube shows. So, Randy, thank you for writing in. And can we first take a minute to just rag on Shane? I want you to feel open and welcome to email me your questions, Randy, as clearly Shane, who is an extra class amateur radio operator, is not there for you. Now, and I would expect no less, as Shane is a man who has had a DX Commander expedition for literal years and still hasn't put it together. Meanwhile, Lord Callum, DX Commander, has made moi, a lord. Yep, did that last Christmas. So, Randy, thank you for writing in. Now, about your question, G90 installed in a car. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that. I do see a couple, or at least one hurdle that you might encounter, and that's simply how to mount it. I haven't seen any commercially available remote mounting solutions for the G90. Now, admittedly, I haven't looked, but usually things like that kind of cross my radar, and I kind of do have my finger on the pulse of ham radio. So you'd have to figure out something, some way of mounting that, which that's what ham radio is all about. Get creative. I had to figure out 100% how I was going to make my G90 Go box and how to mount the head and how to mount the body and how to cram all the crap that I wanted inside that box, but I figured it out. So use your hamgenuity and figure out a way to mount it. Another thing that may or may not be a big deal, it is a small radio. It's designed to be that way. So like the head, the buttons, the screen, all of that stuff is kind of small, which I guess probably wouldn't be a big deal depending on where you had it mounted, just so you could see the screen and see the VFO and the frequency you're on, all that stuff. I mean, I run an 891 in my car, and it's, arms reach away is where the faceplate is. Admittedly, that is a much larger screen, but I have the ASU FTM 300 in there that doesn't have much bigger screen than the G90. So I don't see why anyone couldn't. I don't think it's very practical just because there's not, to my knowledge, really any mounting hardware. Some guys would argue, well, it's only a 20-watt radio. Dude, 20 watts is plenty fine to get out. There's not a huge difference between a 20-watt radio and a 100-watt radio. The receiver in the G90 is adequate. Is it quite as good as kind of the next tier up in terms of price, which would be the 891? FT4, the G90 is about $450. The 891 is about $600, maybe $650. So there might be a $200 difference there. You're going to need to think about antennas. And here's the one thing the G90 tuner will literally tune anything. I tuned a shopping cart with it from Walmart and made a contact, like literally anything. But when you start getting into like mobile antennas, you know, the least expensive would be a ham stick or several ham sticks. You know, get a 40, 20, 17, 50. I mean, you could have 5 or 6 bands for, you know, 100, 140 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark. But they're really made to be used on one frequency. And while the G90 tuner will presumably tune any ham stick you throw at it, you're going to lose efficiency there. You could look at antennas like a little Tar Heel 2 like I ran for many years, a motorized screwdriver antenna. You'll need a control box for that, but then you're $500 and some odd dollars. So I think there's just more solutions for other radios, other mobile radios like the 891, the ICOM 7000, the ICOM 7100, the slew of different mobile HF radios that are out there that on the new market, there's really not that many, but then you start incorporating the antennas and, you know, you're easily $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 into a mobile HF. So with a G90 450, you know, a ham stick mount, you know, you're only going to be running one band at a time while you're driving 100 miles an hour down the freeway, but I don't see why you couldn't do it. It's got a speaker out. The new one has power poles built in. There's no reason. I don't know what it has for mounting hardware. I would definitely keep the body of the radio elevated so you get good airflow all the way around that thing, because that radio does get stupid hot when you're running a giant pileup. But yeah, I would say absolutely go for it if that's what you want to do. Heck, try it out. I'd be curious to see what kind of solutions you came for just mounting the thing. Like I use a Lido mount in my car, and Jim from Lido Radio has all kinds of things for just about any radio you can think of, but I don't think there's anything for a G90. So I think that would probably be your biggest struggle. But let us know how it works. I'll expect a full report of your findings by next Monday's Mailbag Monday. And thanks so much for writing in, and I'm glad to see you in the amateur radio community, and welcome to the hobby. And let me know if you have any other questions, because we know that Shane is just useless. So thanks for writing in, man. Next, we've got a real long one that I'll try and summarize, and it's too big to just fit down here, so we're going to go to my email thing. It looks like this, and this is actually a follow-up from an email that I got. I didn't have an answer for the guy. He was talking about the TLDR. Is he was asking about a mag mount with an ATOS, and I've never used a mag mount with the ATOS, so I don't have a good answer for him. But he's writing, Santa brought me a Yaesu ATOS 120A for Christmas. I mounted it on a mag mount in the center of my minivan roof. It seems to work quite well. My first 2 POTA parks yielded over 50 contacts each. I could have stayed longer, but I needed to go home. In regards to my previous email to you regarding a mag mount configuration, I want to update you on the performance of the ATOS on a mag mount. I get good SWR on all bands from 20 to 10 because the antenna is able to tune those bands just fine. But the 40-meter band SWR is not as good with the mag mount and an ATOS. He recently watched a video by Waters and Stanton, and you can see that link there, which I did watch that, in which the guy recommended using a MAT 50 counterpoise magnet mat to improve performance with a mag mount antenna. The unit I tried is the GRA MAT 50 MK2. I believe it's made by Gable, who makes some mounts and stuff. Counterpoise magnet mat from Amazon. Here's the link. We'll go to that in a minute. Before installing the MAT 50 on my ATOS 120A, I measured the SWR on 40 meters. The lowest I could get was about 2.3 to 1. That's not very good. I then connected the MAT 50 to the ATOS 120A, and the antenna was able to get an SWR down to about 1.3 to 1. That is a huge improvement. So in conclusion, I guess I answered my original question to you about having more magnetic content. He was asking if like one of those triple magnetic mounts would give a better kind of ground plane than a single mag mount, causing improvement with the mag mount antenna. It definitely does make a difference. So there you go. There's some real world confirmation that this product that kind of seems like smoke and mirrors actually does work. I wanted to let you know about this in case you wanted to pass it along to your viewers, which we're doing right now, who may be considering using the ATOS 120A on a mag mount. It does work for me just fine. Incidentally, a friend of mine also uses the ATOS 120 on a mag mount on his car roof and has the same problem with the 40-meter band SWR remaining high. He may be trying out the Mag 50, so it's either Mag 50 or MAT 50 to see if it works. So I watched this Waters and Stanton video, and I'm always a little skeptical of kind of some of the things he says because he's a seller. Like, he's got skin in the game. And in his video, and I'm not trying to rag on the guy, but maybe help him improve. He talked for like 20 minutes about like coupling and mag mounts and antennas and stuff. Not once did he connect an antenna and actually show the difference in SWR that this thing shows. So let's hop over to Amazon. I just want to show you this thing. It's only like $22, so who knows? And here it is. This could be just snake oil. Maybe it works. But what this is basically a magnet. Let's get to, where's the one picture? So it's 80 millimeters by 194 millimeters. So it's basically 8 inches by like 3 inches roughly. So this tiny little thing like sticks to your car, and this wire here goes over the SO239 to give you a better ground plane. Now, obviously, your car needs to be magnetic in order for this to work, but you'll kind of know if your mag mount doesn't stick to your car, this isn't going to work. So it basically gives, what does it say here? Somewhere, it's made of a soft magnetic material and copper coating for durability and style, and is suitable for all weather conditions. Here's my issue with it, though. It's rated for a wind force of 110 kilometers an hour, which is only like 68 miles per hour. So if I had that on my car, it would go flying off. But yeah, it's $22. Apparently there's six left in stock. I will leave an affiliate link to this if you want to go pick one of these up and try it. But I thought this was kind of neat. And I know there are guys who don't have the ATOS permanently installed in their car, and a mag mount's all you got. So if you're having problems tuning 40 meters with your ATOS, this might be something to work. And it's on Amazon. It's only $22. Buy it, try it out. If it sucks, send it back to Amazon and get your money back. So thanks so much for writing in there. I think that's kind of neat, and I just wanted to show this to you as a potential solution for those that can't get on 40 with the ATOS. I don't have that problem with my mount. It's connected to the body of the car, and I have no problems tuning 40 through 6 with my ATOS. And I did a 40 meter activation one time just because, and I activated the park in like 3 minutes with the ATOS. So I usually get like 1.5 to 1 or less. So yeah, love the ATOS though, either way. So anything we can do to help more people get their ATOS into a usable state. As much as I love my ATOS, I want everyone else to love their ATOS. Don't believe the reviews you see on EAM about it. It's a fantastic antenna, and I will always preach the good word about the Yaesu ATOS. So there we are. Thanks for writing in. And lastly, we got another email. This one is going to cause some kerfuffle in the comments. I guarantee it. But that's fine. I'm actually curious to see what everybody's thoughts are on this. I'm going to give mine. I'm going to show you my radio here in a minute. And then maybe we'll have a nice discussion in the comments about it. Let's check this out. This viewer writes, Mike, I would like to know what your opinion is on what is the correct way to use the RST signal reporting system. So to clarify, the RST signal reporting system is readability, strength, and tone if you're CW, and it's just readability and strength if you're phone. I've noticed that with some ham operators, if a signal is an S9 on the S meter, they will call that a 5.9 signal report. If the signal's 10 dB over S9 on the S meter, they will call it a 5.9 plus 10 signal report. If the signal's 20 dB over S9 on their S meter, they will call that a 5.9 plus 20 signal report. I am going to add myself into that category. Other operators, including myself, use the RST system differently. Here's where it gets weird. We will maybe rate an S9 S meter reading as a 5.6 in the RST system, with the 6 meaning a signal strength of good on the official RST chart. If a signal on my S meter is an S9 plus 10 dB over S9, I might rate that a 5.8 in the RST system, with the 8 meaning a signal strength of strong on the official RST chart. If a signal on my S meter is an S9 plus 20 dB over S9, I would rate that a 5.9, with the 9 meaning a signal strength of very strong on the official RST chart. Which way do you think is the correct way in the grand scheme of things? I guess it doesn't really matter that much. I'm just curious what others think about this or if they have noticed this. Thanks again for all your great videos. I rarely ever miss a single one. Well, thanks for watching. So my thoughts, holy crap, are you overcomplicating this? Now, I'm at a loss for words. Let's go over to Wikipedia and see what the heck this RST thing is all about. And for the record, on my desk, I have a mat here that has the RST system right here. So it's always right there. Now I have to put this back. Didn't really think about that. Okay, let's go to the internet machine. So per Wikipedia, which is always true, we have the readability, strength, and tone. So readability, a 1 would be unreadable, and a 5 would be perfectly readable, and everything in between. For signal strength, we have a 1, which is faint, signals barely perceptible, all the way to a 9, extremely strong signals. And then it goes on to here to talk about the maths and 50 microvolts for an HF antenna and 5 microvolts for a UHF, VHF antenna, blah, blah, blah. So what does this all mean and how do I do it? So here is my ICOM 7610 and we can see the little needle bouncing and we see the top there, S159 plus 20 plus 40 plus 60. That's what we're talking about here. So I have always maintained that the S meter on my radio is the report that I'm going to give you. I say that loosely though. But if I'm sitting here looking at the meter, we're listening to a QSO here. Let's find another one. So look at this guy. Hear him loud and clear. No problem hearing this guy audibly. And on the S meter, he's peaking about an 8. So I can hear him just clearly. So to me, that's a 5 because I read you perfectly clear. And my S meter, per the microvolts coming into my antenna, show that he was an 8. So I would give him a 5.8. Pretty simple. Why would we not use the tools on our radio to give a signal report? Why would I give that guy, per your calculations or the way you do it, you would probably only give him a 5.6. But my meter shows a 9. So what is the point of the meter if you're not going to give the report of what the meter says? I'm confused. And I know, and I've heard this argument before. I don't think I've ever really talked about it on the channel. But, you know, if my meter shows a 9 and I hear you perfectly legibly, I'm going to give you a 5.9. There's times where I'm at a park where I can there's like a QRP guy, the propagation sucks. I can barely hear him, but like, you know, it's like, man, I can hear someone's down there, try it again. And then I'm like leaning forward, putting my ear to the radio to try and hear the guy, not moving the S meter at all. I got an S0 noise floor because I'm at the park. I'll give the guy a 1-to-1. I can barely read you, and you're not doing anything to my signal, to my S meter. So to me, that's how I give it. Conversely, if you have a strong signal, let's go up here to this guy. See how he's going over the 9. So I would give him a 5.9 plus. I pay the water sewer. Perfectly readable. Audibly. I don't know what the heck they're talking about. I don't think I want to know what they're talking about. But he's peaking over that S9 on my meter. So I would, at the very least, give him a 5.9. But in reality, as I'm sitting, if I was sitting here rag chewing with the guy or making a contact, I'd say he's 5.9 plus a little. If they're 20 over, I'm going to say you're 20 over. Or you're 5.9 plus 20 or 40 or 60. Or I'll tell the guy you're blowing the front end of my radio off. It happens. So that, I mean, to me, using the meter is the best way to do it. If you're going to, you know, if you're using what you're using, that's fine. But I don't think that's what most people are doing. And on this mat that I have down here, says the same thing as what we just looked at on the Wikipedia. So I think most hams are just using, if I can barely hear you, I'm going to give you a 1. If I hear you, no problem, you sound like you're standing right next to me in terms of audibly, I'm going to give you a 5. But there could be times where I hear you just fine, but your signal's not very strong. You could be a 5x3. I have no problem copying you whatsoever, but your signal strength isn't that high. So I'd give you a 5.3, maybe a 4x4, maybe a 5x7, maybe a 3x7. You could have really low audio and you could have a really great signal strength. Like, it happens. You'll hear people when you make enough contacts, you'll hear people giving like kind of weird numbers, but you know, you're a 2x9. Like, it's kind of weird, but maybe they have a bunch of noise. So your signal is really loud, but your audio isn't. So maybe your mic gain is really low. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I'm a simpleton. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just use your S meter. The guy's peaking over 9. He's 5.9 plus. It's that simple. But them's just my thoughts. What say you about the RST system? I'm kind of curious to see what people are going to say in the comments about this. So that's all we got today, kids. If you have amateur radio related questions for me, shoot me an email, k8mrd@icloud.com, and we will see you again on another episode of Ham Radio Tube. 73, y'all, and Shane, build your damn DX commander, or Randy's going to do it before ya.